Hey, what's happening, Keno?
What's up, homie?
End of another week. Another
Yes,
week in paradise. Yeah,
yes. It's Friday. I can't wait to get my drink on.
yeah. I understand. I understand. I, on the other hand, will continue with my water. But you enjoy, sir. And let me guess, more Woodford?
I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm gonna stop doing that. I need sponsorship from Woodford. Y'all
I
see me. Y'all see me out here representing.
I agree. I agree. You stop. You can be like another comedian who drank a particular brand of whiskey, and when they turn their back on him, yeah. So anyway, hello,
um,
hello.
what's up,
Welcome to
everybody,
another
man?
episode of Advocators, the Advocators. I am JoJo.
And I'm Keno Trice in the building as always.
Yes, we've got some things I'm excited to talk about. Not as many topics as last week, but some things I'm looking forward to. Before we get into that, anything you want to say to anybody?
I want to say this. Listen, as a few of you know, I am a business owner, and I started my business. This is going into my third year. COVID is killing me, dog, killing me. I had to go back and take a, a corporate gig, and I'll say this: send your kids to college for a STEM degree. Only with a STEM degree can you take 2 years off and then get back um, in the job market and make a very decent salary. If anybody know, you and I both, Joseph, work in the IT industry, and I've really kind of been out of the job market for 2 years, but I was able to secure a very great good job with a very competitive salary. So I'm appreciative for that. So stop sending y'all kids to college for psychology, basket weaving, archaeology, or whatever you're doing. Make sure they get a science, technology, engineering, or math degree because you can always find a job. I just want to give that little tidbit.
I cannot advocate that. We getting started already. I cannot advocate that because without the psychiatrist, the psychologist, some of us would go knucking futz. So yeah.
But I'll say this though: you have to get at least a master's or a PhD in psychology. A lot of people go to
But
psychology, do the 4 years, and then they end up in the call center.
oh yeah. Well, if you stop short, then you know that's what's going to happen.
They become arrogant call center supervisors, and I hate a call center supervisor ass month.
I used to, I used to work at a call center. Matter of
I
fact,
know,
we
and you
met.
arrogant as. I
Man,
do remember that. I do remember that.
we met in the call center, but you didn't work in the call center.
Mm-mm.
You worked somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was in the mail room.
I
See
was in
what
the mail
happens when you get a STEM degree. He was working in the call center. I was in the mail room, and that's how we met. We ended up working together in
Yeah,
in IT.
yeah. I
It's
got the internship, and you got pulled in. Yeah,
yeah,
that was a long time ago. That was a fun time. There might be a
yeah,
couple of people who knew us back then who are
yeah.
watching right now.
Used to work for Sears Roebuck.
Hey.
Oh, oh, okay.
I don't need to know all that.
Yeah, they shut down now. We shut that mug down. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. Everybody that we know went to work for Home Depot. I wonder how they're doing. How's their
Probably
stock
mad,
price?
just as mad as they were when they worked with us.
I'm
But
talking
anyway.
about Home Depot's stock price ever since they moved over there. That's what I'm talking about. But hey, before we continue,
Mhm.
we do have a word from our sponsor, so we will be back in just a moment. Enjoy.
Yes, V&V
Shout out
Printing
to
and
the two
Design.
brothers. Shout out to the two brothers that run that operation.
Yeah, they're great individuals.
I don't know about great individuals. One of them's all right. The
Yeah.
other one's
Uh,
pretty.
and you know what? The funny part, I want to give a shout out to Atlanta Comedy. Comedians were instrumental in getting that company off the ground. So all the shirts and the merchandise you saw in that was the first commercial done. All of it was from Atlanta comedians. Give a shout out, Marlon Ballard, Hank Denson, Jay
Marlon
Ward,
Hank, Jay Ward,
Wellington Juku.
Wellington Juku.
Yeah, much love, much love. They got the company started. So now we, man, it's growing.
I
It's
haven't seen
growing.
Wellington in a while. I'm glad too, because every time I saw that brother, he made me want to do a push up. Like, man,
Mm.
stop moving those weights around, brother. The rest of us want to think about breaking a sweat.
Wellington don't be lifting weights. He be
He's on that African diet.
yeah, he's on the African diet. He be eating chickpeas and jollof rice. That's what get him all swole. But
Hey, hey. So, uh, one of my moms made me jollof rice for the first time last year. She didn't make it for me, but I got some as a result of what her making it for her kids, and who aren't kids, they're fully grown. But at any rate, delicious, delicious stuff.
I don't know
If
that
I
I've had it yet. I'm gonna have to get some jollof rice. Do they like chop up onions and green peppers in it or something? Put some
man,
Lowry's.
I don't know what's in it except deliciousness.
Oh, okay.
Except deliciousness. While I was eating it, I expected to bite down on a toenail because I swear she put her foot in it. But yeah,
Did
it
it turn
was.
you African? Nigga.
I
I don't know what
have
you put in this rice, but it is so delicious.
I have got to get me some more of this. Yeah. No, no, it did not. No, it did
Shout out to the jollof rice makers. Niga. I like saying it. Niga.
not. Mm.
Anyway, we can get into the stories. I ain't got all
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, neither do I. So we've got some good ones today. First one I want to talk about. Let's take a look at this here. Democrats $50,000 student loan forgiveness plan make 36 million borrowers debt free. So, do you advocate this move?
I definitely advocate this move because I still owe student loan debt. Um, I think it was, I don't want to pay it. Let's just get down to it. And I think this would indirectly help Black people who are in a lot of student loan debt. Necessarily, we got degrees like a mug, but we ain't got the jobs. So it disproportionately affects Black females because Black females are the most educated group in America right now. They are getting more degrees than a thermometer. Um, so yes, I do advocate for this. I hope it passes. I know some people will say that this is big government, democratic spending, but hey, at this point, hey, get rid of that student loan. A lot of countries do send their population to school for free. I think student loan debt is um, holding some people back financially, and I think it would help the Black community tremendously if they would still absolve a lot of people from student debt. And your
Okay.
thoughts?
I cannot advocate this move
Okay.
because I am already 60 to $70,000 in on my student loan, and it's almost paid off. And now they want to come save people.
You should have waited.
So, well, yeah, if I hadn't, it would have just mounted up, and it would have been right before I died. Right before I died, they'd been like, everybody's got a student loan, you're good to go. That's how it works. The party always starts when I'm about out the door. It's besides that, I'm still waiting on my bloodline's 40 acres and a mule. So where are you getting all this money from? You paid people out last year. You want to forgive student loans, but my family still can't get their 40 acres and a mule. Reparations have been paid to other groups other cultures for the atrocities that have occurred to them. You know why we haven't gotten our mule yet? Because we are the mules. We are the mules. That's why we haven't gotten. I, that's why we haven't gotten it. And honestly, black people, stop asking for reparations. We're not going to get it. And the reason we're not going to get it because they've waited so long that it would cost them too much money to give it to us. What I suggest, what I would rather have is for every generation of black person whose bloodline was enslaved, for every generation that was enslaved, that's how many generations, no, twice that number of generations tax free, state and federal. That's what I'm moving for. State and federal tax free. I want to be able to buy all my rims, all my Gucci, all my Tom Ford, and all my Cristal and Ciroc tax free. That's what I want. I want it for me. I want it for my son, and I want it for my son's sons. I'm done.
I do believe I pay more in student loan payments than I do in taxes. So I'm down for the student loans. Uh, I do. You have a great point there. I would advocate for tax relief. I know at some point during U.S. times, immigrants were allowed to come here and set up businesses tax free for so many years. I don't know if that's still in play. I don't know if that was a rumor from back in the day, but I know that they did get some kind of break. So, yeah, and in the form of reparations, I would take a tax cut.
Yeah,
Absolutely. No
absolutely.
taxes, no student loan, and free Woodford for everybody.
You keep it real. I have no desire for your Woodford. I am
Free
not.
Woodford.
I'm not a Bergen. Anana says Anana Paris. Shout out to Anana Paris and Kimbro 74. Anana says why not both and yes to reparations. I'm not sure what the both is. If that's reparations and tax
No,
and
and
free
student
federal
loans. And student
and
loan
student loans
forgiveness.
and
Yeah.
student loans. Oh, I'm still being selfish to the student loans because I've just about paid mine off.
Well, you are
That's
a
what
good citizen, man, and we need more people like you.
you
But
can't.
for the people like me that might have been delinquent on a few payments, get rid of it.
I
Buy
was.
Kamala, you know what to do.
You think I was never delinquent on my? Come on, now. You think I was never delinquent?
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Anana said tax and student loans. I am an advocate for that, specifically for black people. We need something specifically. Biden has got in there, and he done signed all kind of stuff for LGBT and illegal immigrants and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, great transition. I don't even
Mhm.
know if you planned that, but our next topic. So, Reuben Warren, the second young comedian, I believe he's out in LA right now. Has been doing stand up for a number of years. I think I knew him when he started. He was just a young lad then.
Yeah,
Uh,
under
but
21. He used to come to the club, punchline, get on
yeah,
stage. Yeah.
yep. And I admire him for his commitment and his dedication to it. As do I that of so many other comedians that I've known, gotten a chance to know over the past 15, 20 years. But Ruben says, so when racist stuff happens now, do we say Biden's America or still Trump's America? Y'all made so many rules in 4 years. I'm trying to keep up.
Put it on the screen, man. Put it on the screen. We got it.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Yeah, people must read the
Okay.
statement from this young brother.
Hey man,
There
there's
we
a
go.
lot going on. There's a lot of motion going
Yeah,
on.
you
All right,
got to navigate, man. You the producer.
all right, all right, all right. So there you have it. When racist stuff happens, so who do we blame, Trump or Biden? Uh, is that is that a fair question? Do you advocate the question?
He did it. He did it as rhetorical. You know, the whole campaign for the Democrats this time around was we're not Trump. Get Trump out of office. That was the whole campaign. But some people, some black people that kind of really really researched and didn't show their political ignorance. They were asking, what's really the difference between Biden and Trump? And if you look at what happened during the Trump administration, the cities, like what happened in Minnesota with Floyd getting a knee on his neck. I it escapes me some of the other killings, but a lot of these cities.
Rashad Rashard Brooks, he's
Yep.
one.
Yep. A lot of these cities were Democratic cities, Democratic governor, Democratic DAs, Democrats from the top down. So basically, we had to get Trump out. He shot all this racist rhetoric, but some of the real atrocities that were happening from Black people were definitely happening in Democratic led cities. So I get what he's saying. He's saying, okay, now that Trump's gone, if this racist stuff is still happening, who's really to blame? Was it Trump? Is it Biden? Where is the point being made? Okay, now that we got Trump out, all right, what's up? This stuff is still happening. Basically saying Trump, it was not the root of the problem. It's more of a systemic. It don't matter who's in office. Trump, Biden, the same thing. Status quo was still going to go on. So I get what he was saying. So what are Black people going to say when these things are still happening? Another hashtag. Somebody's going to get killed. Somebody's going to end up on the news. Same thing. Media cycle is going to replay itself every few months.
Yeah, yeah, because nothing really changes. Uh, with regard to who do we blame, I say it depends on the situation. I get it. I know that it was a rhetorical question when you put it out there, but I liked the question. I think it depends. But with regard to Biden versus Trump and the amount of things that occur, I have to say that when Trump took office, when after Trump took office, I swear some white people lost their minds. Like care of any care whatsoever just went out the window,
Oh,
completely out the window. I mean, it's almost as if it's like since you use the police, it's almost as if they ramped up.
right.
Yeah, that's just how I feel. They ramped up. So there is a difference. There is a the president does make a difference, but the other side of it is that the people who are making complaints like this or complaints about what's going on, all we're doing is complaining.
Yeah.
Black people, we do two things: we march and we complain.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, yeah.
generally speaking, of course.
Yeah. What it comes down to, do you like your racism out in the open or do you like it behind closed doors?
I
Uh,
like my racism out in the open.
Me too. Me too. I think, and this is not popular opinion. I think another 4 years of Trump would have been a good thing for Black people because they would have made us take responsibility for ourselves and understand what America is really about. When racism is behind closed doors, we go to sleep.
Yeah, well, I don't know that it would have been good for black people because a lot more of us probably would not have survived
I mean, I,
than
I
than
mean, we
will.
don't know that. Name
No,
name some laws or anything that Trump has signed that was negative towards Black people.
no,
Because
I can't.
Biden got a whole list. Biden has been a career politician, and there's documentation that he has implemented policies that have destroyed Black families.
Has he
Uh,
implemented them or has he supported them?
well, he supported them and he authored them. So,
Okay,
people's like, maybe he can change. I mean, but whether he changes or not, look at the path of destruction he has left.
but here's the thing.
Excuse me.
Sometimes, bless you. Sometimes we don't know what's going to work until we try it. And one, Biden, in all of the all of the mistakes he's made in his political career, whatever they may be, he didn't work alone.
Okay,
He
yeah,
he did not work alone. There were people to his left and to his right who joined hands uh, in unity with him to make these things happen. And in many cases, particularly with the things that have been the laws that have been created with regard to that have affected blacks disproportionately more than they have affected whites. Uh, there were black people behind those some of those movements.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about that. The argument has been made that the Congressional Black Caucus wanted these things. They wanted to implement these rules. Now, that may be fair and sane because crack was destroying communities and there was an outcry that something needed to be done. But on the flip side of that, let's be honest, most laws that have been created in the US are only applied to a certain group of people. And that's us mostly. So yeah, it would have been a good thing if the laws were even across the board. But you get it's a fine line, it's a slippery slope when you ask for these things because that when a law's in place, it's really for black people. I mean, we saw with the insurrection, those people are getting slaps on the wrist, and some people died during the insurrection. Now let's just look at it in this context. If if black people in mass went somewhere and somebody died, everybody that was in that group, a part of that, has a murder charge. White people stormed the Capitol, kill a cop, some other people got killed. Where's the murder charges? I ain't heard a murder charge yet. I hear trespass, little slaps on the wrist. So yeah, any law to get implemented, you got to be very careful what effect it's going to do because it's going to be put on us. And the other part of that, they say in the Black Congressional Caucus wanted this. A lot of those the brothers are handpicked, and like they say, um, uh, same skin folk and kin folk, however it goes. But like they choose our leaders. So who were these leaders that really wanted this? Were they really grassroots? Were they really chosen by us, or were they black people put in certain positions to be controlled opposition? Because one of the brilliant things about white supremacy is that they control both sides of the argument, and they put things in place to give the illusion that, oh, this is what you wanted, hint hint. But some people getting paid on the backside. But anyway, that's just my little 2 cents.
No, I feel you. Now there are, I admit, I agree. That we all know there are laws that are in place, particularly uh, to imprison black people. Uh, and then when the situation is reversed, when the law affects white people, like when white people break that same law, uh, there it's, oh, there's an epidemic, they have a problem, we need to help them, this, that, and the other. And that's unfortunate, but that is part of the system. So laws aside, I mean, crack, the laws, the unfairness of the laws with regard to crack are obvious, but we also know that crack was pumped into the neighborhoods. You've never
Yeah.
seen, like, black people weren't flying planes from Colombia to America with crack in the
Yeah.
back. They
Yeah.
weren't digging tunnels under the from Mexico to America. Uh, bringing crack into the country. We know that, but they're the ones that get caught the most with it, and they're the ones that get penalized. Of course, if you're on meth, you might get some treatment. You might get some free treatment before you find yourself in prison.
I'm gonna give you a good example of that. NFL player, his name is Chad Wheeler. Um, I don't know if you've heard this story or not, but Chad Wheeler was a Philadelphia Eagles player, and he beat the brakes off his girlfriend.
He
And
beat
the
the what?
reason he beat the brakes off his girlfriend is because she would not bow down to him. And not only did he beat the brakes off her, when she came to, he was surprised and said, "You ain't dead yet." Now, Chad Wheeler is nowhere in the mainstream media. Everything I've seen was maybe a little small blurb. Oh, yeah, he was wrong. Let's move on. Ray Rice knocked his chick out in the elevator. One punch, she was asleep. Ray Rice was the face of domestic abuse for months. Where's Chad Wheeler in the media? And I've seen some things. Oh, he was off his meds. Oh, We should feel sorry for him. What they say, he needs
Mentally ill.
mentally ill.
He needs
All these
treatment.
excuses are made for him. But Ray Rice could have been mentally ill. His wife spit in his face, and that's why he knocked her out. This woman did nothing to Chad Wheeler but not bow down, and he tried to kill her. Why isn't he in jail right now? They went and got Ray Rice.
Yeah.
That
Well,
is a great modern day 2021 um, example of how there's two different justice systems.
oh yeah. Well, it's all the same justice system. It just applies to different people.
Mm-hmm.
It applies differently to different people, but it's all the same justice system.
Yeah.
We go
So
in front of the same. We go in front of the same judge, and that same judge says you $1,000 fine, you 10 years in prison.
right. So black people, we gotta be real careful when we ask for these laws and for something to be done. I think community activism is probably the best thing for us right now. Policing our own communities and basically keeping that man out of your house. You see what happens when you call the police on somebody mentally ill that you might need help with. Police come with guns ablazing, and
Of
they
course,
can know that they're dealing with a mentally ill patient when they get there, but they still bang bang. Oh, he off his meds. Oh, we sorry.
you are on a roll today, Mister Trice.
I am.
That
I am.
that is
I'm-
a great that is a great segue into our next segment. We're gonna be done with this thing in less than an hour. I'm I'm pleased. Maybe because I this topic now.
Mhm.
This topic is something else. So this guy is one of two police officers in Hamilton, Georgia, former police officers in Hamilton, Georgia, who one was fired, one resigned because they were caught on they were caught on camera. Caught on camera. They recorded themselves. Actually, they were just too stupid to know it. They were caught on camera going into a racist rant right before they were supposed to attend a Black Lives Matter rally, uh, just to oversee it, to oversee it. What a I just thought about that. The overseers. So, uh, did you hear about this story, Mr. Trice? I think you did. I
Oh
think
yeah.
you
Oh
posted
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very aware of Sheriff Buford Pusser down in West Georgia. I, y'all need to go back on the plantation.
Yeah. So what I did was I took the video and I edited it, and I am going to share that video. So let's take a look at that video real quick.
In the proper use. An officer, if I go to tase
All right, hold
somebody,
on.
I know
Let me.
what they're
There we
saying
go.
now is, well, you're gonna have to shoot him. It's just a taser. Then
What are we
how
doing? What
come
are we
when you
doing?
tase a neighbor, it's like you done killed him 27 times? The guy's running. He's got the taser in his hand, and
Okay, hold on. Did he say how come when you tase a nigger, it's like you done killed him 27 times? Like, is it worse because like if it was 26, would it be okay? Are you there, Keno? Did I lose you? Oh, it looks like we lost Keno. Yeah, hopefully he'll be back momentarily. But I don't understand that. I don't understand like like the hate and the disdain that is in this man's voice. Here we go. The hate and the disdain that is in this man's voice when he says what he says
And
about tasing a black man.
hey, and he said it with conviction too. Like he really, really, really believes this. And you know, all right, let's be dead honest. Some of these small Georgia towns, I mean, the black people are behind like 30, 40 years. And so, for somebody as redneck and uneducated to speak in such a fashion like like black people are super inferior, clearly they are not around any black people of much substance. And if they are, they dismiss it.
Yeah. Oh, very dismissive. Very dismissive. Let's see what else they have to say because we're just getting started.
Yeah.
Here we go. So I'm backing up just a little
The
bit.
guy's running, he's got the taser in his hand, and you see him, and he turns, and you see him fire the taser at the officer.
Okay, what would he have done if it had hit the officer? Go over there and get his gun and kill him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or what if one of them projectiles would have struck him in the eye? The act of him firing that taser at an officer is an aggravated assault because he has not been trained in the proper use. An officer, if I go to tase somebody, I know to shoot low. I know what to do. He doesn't know.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's what I
Now, how do you know he doesn't know how to shoot a taser?
Right. The assumption that black people are stupid.
Is that there's no way this colored could know? There's no way he could know. You know, I mean, and I'll be damned if I get hit in the eye by one of them.
By a spanking ass taser.
Now, but it gets better. And here's the thing: like, this is all before a rally. You're supposed to go. Oh, by the way, hey, hey, listen. Nice to see you, cousin. Appreciate you watching. Here's the thing. So you're supposed to be going to a Black Lives Matter rally to keep the peace. You're a police officer, a cop. Do you know what cops? Did you know cop is an acronym?
Yep.
Yeah, conservator of the peace.
Yep.
But you're already going like. Let's watch some more. Hold on.
And that mayor up there, she's already fired the officer. And without a hearing. And she's pushing real hard. They say she's now the front runner to be Joe Biden's vice presidential candidate.
You kidding?
Because if I had to fucking mayor, I'd rather the mayor than Stacey Abrams.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's so much wrong with that right there.
I ran fuck the mayor than Stacey Abrams. What did Stacey Abrams have to do with it? He just threw that in there. All right, but go ahead.
I mean, we are talking about them though.
Right.
We're talking about them, and those are the most popular two in Georgia.
Right.
So I mean, if I have to, he'd be so lucky. He'd be so lucky to get either one of them to do anything to him. But here's my thing. So he talks about this officer. She fired him. No hearing.
Right.
Oh yeah. How many brothers do the police accost, and sisters for that matter, do they accost and assume are guilty of something before they've discovered they're guilty of anything or proven that they're guilty of anything? Case in point, just like she wasn't a cop, but that young lady at the hotel that attacked that young man because she thought he stole her phone.
Yeah.
Tackled him because she thought a young man, because a young black man, because she thought he stole her phone when his father could probably bought her phone 10 times over and had it up and been able to throw him at her and say, keep what you catch.
First of all, I just want to go off on a tangent on this one. That chick chose the right one. Because had that been me and you attacked my son, I'd have stomped a mud hole in your ass. She chose the right one. But anyway, go ahead with your point.
I understand where you're coming from. She would be in handcuffs.
Yeah.
That much is for certain.
Yeah. I'd have kicked your jaw off the hinges. But anyway.
I can appreciate your love and your desire to protect your son.
Yeah.
Gonna leave that one alone. But he talks about how the cop didn't get a hearing. Well, first of all, Georgia's right to work state, but they can fire you at any time, no matter who you work for.
Yeah.
So she didn't have to give him a hearing.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, and in actuality, she didn't fire him. He resigned.
Yeah.
And we're gonna come back to that when this video is over. The the fact that he resigned, because I want to
Mhm.
talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
And Stacey Edwards.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if we have there and there's nothing to it, and it's just, some little bullshit call, I mean, hell yeah, we can answer it, but we can't.
We can't get nothing that's gonna tie us up.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Protest, son of a what's the matter with these people?
What's the matter with these
I
fucking
don't
people?
own no slaves. My folks didn't own no slaves.
Hey,
Well, you know
Listen.
what now? I don't know if this has any merit back in the slave times, but I'm sure there was a lot of them mistreated. I don't have no doubt about that. But for the most part, it seems to me like they furnished them a house to live in. They furnished them clothes to put on their back. They furnished them food to put on their table, and all they had to do was fucking work.
and now we give them all those things, and they don't have to fucking work.
That's it.
Did you hear him? Did you hear him at the end? One of them finished. The other cop finished the sentence for him.
Yeah.
Like they're a couple. that's that's how serious about their racism they are.
First of all, he was like, now we give them all them things and we don't have to work. Sir, I've been working my entire fucking adult life. What the fuck are you talking about? Most black people I know are hardworking, loyal people to a fault. Where do you get this shit from? And second of all, my family didn't own slaves. If do you know where the word cracker came from? Cracker came from the guy who held the whip and whipped the slaves. The cracker was not the slave owner. They were just some white trash that was put hired to watch the slaves and crack the whip. That's where the term cracker came from. And so you're acting like a real cracker with your statements. So whether you owned it or not, your family was probably complicit because they were crackers. Didn't own the slaves, but they were hired to oversee the slaves and crack the whip and beat them and do all the dumb shit. So don't give me that my family didn't own slaves. That don't mean shit.
The
You
other,
could have
the other
worked for the slave owner.
the other thing is, what do slaves even have to do? What did slaves have to do with anything at that particular point in time? Black Lives Matter. You're going to a Black Lives Matter rally, and right before he goes into the slave rant, he says, Black Lives Matter." What the fuck is wrong with these people? So you're going to it has nothing to do with slavery. But for the record, it wasn't 200 years ago. It was 156 years ago, because slaves weren't emancipated until 1883.
Yep.
And then some slaves didn't even know about it until 2 years later.
Juneteenth.
Yeah, yeah.
um, there are people alive today who have interviewed slaves, people who were slaves.
Oh yeah. I saw an article on the History Channel while I was looking through all this stuff. The last slave to come into the country on a slave ship came here in 1880. I think
Yep.
he died in like 1946 or something like that.
Right. Right.
Brought here from Africa, illegally brought into the country, because at that point, international slave trade was illegal. But they snuck them on in.
Yeah. And they walk around here. The Confederate flag is our heritage. The Confederacy fought for the right to maintain their slaves. So for you to act like that's not offensive to black people, that was the Confederacy's whole purpose for going to war. Because the Queen, I think they were, making having slaves illegal in Britain at the time or something like that, and the Queen wanted America to do the same thing, and the
Well, the
Confederacy,
North, Yeah,
Yeah,
the North had abolished slavery,
yeah.
and yeah, but the
And the
South,
South was like, no, we won't keep our niggers. So we're gonna fight.
they were making too much money, especially after Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin.
Right. So what is our heritage? Your heritage is to keep us enslaved, man.
But see,
Tell
here's
all
the
the
thing.
monuments now.
Here's the thing, and you know what, I meant to write that man's name down, so I could remember it. But we just got someone just asked us if we ever want a villain on our show. He's the man, and
Uh-oh. White power is a white
you
person.
you know who it is. It's the homie,
Oh, okay.
Mr. Easton. Shout out to Mr.
Shout out
Easton.
to oh yeah, he did send a message. I couldn't see it.
But oh, going back, so this man, this police chief, with his Jackson Vocational High School education
Yeah.
from Columbus, Georgia, and that in itself is a problem. I have a problem with the fact that people can become police with just a high school degree. I think that's ridiculous. It, you doctors hold people's lives in their hand. They have to go to school for a minimum of 8 years past high school. Uh, who else? Lawyers have people's lives in their hands. They have to go to school for a minimum of 8 years past high school. Police officers, especially in Georgia, oh, you got a high school degree? We'll take you. You got a GED? We'll take you. Those are the people who, no offense, but some kind of offense. Those are the people who said, you know what? I have no aspirations whatsoever beyond this high school degree, and I'm just going to become a cop. And when I say no aspirations, I mean, if you don't go to college because you have an idea, you want to be an entrepreneur, an inventor, then that's awesome. You want to make the world a better place, that's awesome. But if you just like, well, I can do this because I can do this.
I can go to military, I could be a cop. I can be a cop. You reminded me Columbus. Is that where Hamilton is? Is that Columbus?
Hamilton is actually like I think it's 30 to 60 miles south of Columbus,
Okay.
but
So
he's from Columbus.
okay, so it reminds me of a story. Back in the 90s, some friends and I were on our way to Albany, and we had to ride through Columbus. I don't remember if we were just before Columbus or just drove through Columbus, but we got pulled over by law enforcement, and at the time, we had our firearms on us. All of us were licensed carriers, and at the time, we just had it on laid out on the floor or whatever. And so I know that protocol is that when the police approach, you let them know, hey, we got firearms in the car. So it was at night, and the cop had the light, and before we could let him know, like, hey, we got guns in the car, he had saw the gun and he immediately draw down his weapon. So before we knew it, cop cars came from everywhere. They took us out of the car one at a time with guns. And so we were dressed to go to the club when we got to Albany. So we had button downs on, nice clothes, whatever. They brought the drug dog. They called us gangbangers. I was like, what gangbangers wear button down and slacks? Come on now. So it was just a whole
Yeah,
ordeal.
y'all look
But
like some pimps. You trying to come down here and get our white women?
right. They came to get the white women. But what I remember about that, they did arrest my friend who was the driver because he admitted to smoking marijuana earlier that day before we left Atlanta, which was some BS. But
Before he left Atlanta?
before he left Atlanta, he said, "Oh yeah, I smoked a little weed. Oh, DUI, DUI. We got to get him for something because they didn't find any drugs." So when we went to go bail him out of jail, I'll never forget this. The jail, they showed us a noose they had hanging in the upstairs part of the jail. It was definitely Mayberry. It was a Mayberry jail, and they said they used the noose to hang horse thieves back in the day. And I was like, yeah, fucking right. I'm sure all the horse thieves were black. Um, but this was the 90s. So for them to have a noose to keep hanging upstairs like it was some historical landmark or something like that was definitely an intimidation factor. And it showed you that even in the 90s, there's parts of Georgia you just don't want to get caught in. And I remember when my buddy and I, who wasn't arrested, since they towed the car and took my buddy to jail, we had to ride with them in the back of the police car. And they took us down some back roads and we were in the dark woods. And I looked at my friend and said, I guess this is it. I just knew we wasn't coming out of that. But I mean, it just shows the level of bias they had because they couldn't find drugs. Matter of fact, we had a bottle of liquor in the car that just happened to be open, and cops are supposed to pour it out. This cop took our liquor and put it in the cop car. Like, I'm gonna drink this later. Like, it was so janky.
Of course
And
he did.
and I think the bail him out was a couple of $100. Get his car to impound was like $60 or something. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was just the fact that they had to get us on something. They could have really just let us go. It wasn't nothing they had us on, but it was, we're black, we're gonna hold you. You don't got no drugs, but we're gonna get some money out your boy.
Yeah. And now you live in Come On Black Boy County.
Yeah. So it does. What's going on today doesn't surprise me. I've been in parts of Georgia where I see the rest of, and where I live now. I live in Cobb County. Cobb County historically has had a reputation to be a place that black people shouldn't be when the sun goes down. So I can imagine maybe in the 60s and 70s that Cobb County probably was a sundown town.
No, I lived in Cobb County for 10 years, and I am almost certain that you are
So we have jokes that Cobb is spelled COBB. We say count on being busted or come on, black boy, you coming with us. I mean, Cobb was
correct.
notorious. And I live here now. And, I recently just got pulled over by the police. And I did some janky stuff driving, but the cop was more than professional. He was nice. It was a great experience. So I'm not going to say nothing bad about the Cobb police. They definitely have been working up here to change the reputation that Cobb County has, because Cobb County has a lot of they're building here constantly, and they're trying to change the reputation to attract more business and stuff. So my hat's off to Cobb County. But there's still parts of Georgia like where your boy got shot jogging.
Yep.
This cop in Hamilton, just 60 miles outside of Columbus. There's still parts of Georgia that are still back in the "Make America Great Again" mind state. So,
Well,
which I'm surprised that Georgia turned blue during this presidential election. That surprised the hell out of me. But
well, I cannot tip my hat to Cobb County for personal reasons. For many, many personal reasons, I cannot and will not.
You left a lot of money in Cobb County, huh?
I left enough. I left enough money in Cobb County. And I mean, look, so when I was younger, I used to ride around. I used to have this car that it had tags from a different state.
I
And
remember that car.
sometimes my tags wouldn't get renewed right away. And I could drive around in Cobb County. It would take no time for me to get pulled over.
Yeah, you were actually
Even
breaking the law and got pulled over.
no,
But
actually,
go
mhm.
ahead.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. But I got pulled over like without fail. One time I didn't have my seatbelt on. Got pulled over without fail. Been in Fulton County now for 6 years. Last year, I didn't even put my 2020 tags on. Now I had them, but for whatever reason, I just didn't put them on my plate. I think I set them somewhere, couldn't find them, and that was that. A whole year riding around Fulton County, being cops kept pulling up behind me. I'm sitting there like, oh, all right, yeah, get ready.
Breaking
And
the
I
law
wasn't.
some more.
No. Actually, I wasn't. I took my tags were legit. I just didn't have the tag on the car, so I had
Still
updated
breaking the
tags.
law. But go ahead.
Whatever. Point is, well, they didn't think twice about it because they
Yeah.
had things to do,
Yeah.
bigger things to do. That's my whole point.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, that goes without saying. You living in Fulton County, County got bigger problems than pulling somebody over for expired tag, like murders every day. So when you're in Cobb County, they ain't got nothing else to do but, run your tag. So I'm sure that happens in any major city. You could probably get away with more than you can in these little suburbs. So
Yeah, yeah. So back to our Hamilton racists. Uh, so the one cop was fired, the other resigned. The next day, I believe the chief resigned, and then the day after that, I believe the other cop was fired. Now, the cop that was fired because he failed to turn in his gun and badge. The
okay.
chief resigned because they asked him, "You resign, or we've got to fire you." So he asked if he could see the video. And what's up, Al? He asked if he could see the video. So they took him in the room. They let him see the video. He walked into the room where his mayor was, his 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 gay black mayor.
Oh, ho, ho.
Yes,
Story gets better.
and apologized for what he said, and turned in his resignation. To which the mayor, very proudly and rightfully so, said, "I do not accept your apology," essentially stating that you're only upset, or you're only sorry because you got caught. Oh, and by the way, here's how his dumbass got caught. If you don't know, they
Yeah.
turned in the body cams. The cops turned in the body cams because they didn't think the body cams were working.
Hmm.
So whoever inspected the body cam was either a black person.
It was. It was. I found out it was a black person. Gotcha, bitch. But go ahead.
See, I hadn't found that out yet, but I knew it had to be a black person, a woman, or someone they pissed off.
Yep. Yep.
Because
Got him.
if it was a buddy, it'd have been like, "Hey, man,
Hey,
hey."
I agree with you.
But you can't be saying this on the
Right.
body cam.
Now, one thing I will agree with them on is I would definitely rather smash Keisha Lance Bottoms over Stacey Abrams. I do agree there. That's about the only thing I agree. But
But you think I'm going to engage with you on
yeah,
that conversation?
yeah, you had a point. Keisha is fine. Stacey Abrams,
Whatever, man. Stacey Abrams looks like a beautiful woman who will treat you very well. So these cops, these cops, uh, they were given the opportunity to resign, and I have issue with that. And this is one of those things where, like, black people, if we want change, we need to speak up about this. Like, we have to stop letting these cops resign and fire these bastards.
okay.
Don't give them an opportunity, because there's money involved when you allow them
Yep.
to resign in
Yep.
many cases.
Yep.
Not only that, but then it's not on their record. So they just move to another city. Like one
Okay.
police chief, Erica Shields.
Okay.
You know who that is?
No.
I'll tell you. Police Chief Erica Shields is the woman who was police chief of Atlanta Police Department when
Mhm.
Rashard Brooks
Oh,
was
yeah. I
shot.
know she is now. Yep.
Yep. And what happened to her? She resigned. She resigned, and then she went over to
Louisville.
Louisville
Yep.
to work for the police department where they shot Breonna Taylor.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. I will say this. If I don't believe words should get such a harsh punishment. I don't believe it. Um,
Hold on. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
okay. I don't believe words should get a harsh punishment. Now, what I do say that they need to go over all the cases of people that they've put in jail and make sure there wasn't any racial bias there. I mean, we kind of know it probably was because
Mhm.
their ideology, but I mean, we've all said stupid shit. Um, I don't I believe that words are words, but his actions speak more volume than actually words. There's a lot of people that talk shit, but they ain't gonna bust a grape. Um, I,
Yeah, but he's in a position too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They need to investigate and see if there was complaints of bias against him. As he arresting way more black people than he is white people. What kind of complaints are being filed against him? Most cops have, a complaint record that that's easily accessible. So
Yeah.
um, if
Now,
if if he's done the town good for 30 years and he resigns, I don't think you should take everything. I do kind of believe in freedom of speech. If I want to get on here and say something crazy about white people, I shouldn't lose my livelihood because I
but
have a
here's
little
the thing.
bias.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
You get on and you say something crazy and you're big enough, you will pay
yeah,
because you're a black man. It's not this goes back to the double standard. And
true.
my case is Nick Cannon. Now Nick Cannon was persecuted. They said
Yeah,
Nick Cannon was anti-Semitic and he was this and he was
right,
that.
right.
I saw the interview.
Yeah,
Now
it wasn't
I'm
that
not
bad.
Jewish. I'm
Yeah.
not Jewish, so I don't know. Maybe he did say some things that somebody should have been somebody would be offended
You
by.
could say Jews and unicorns and they're gonna cancel you. It don't matter what you say. If you bring
So
up
what you
Jewish name or
saying?
anything.
This is our last episode.
Yes, our last episode,
We
Jews
just
and
said it
unicorns.
4 times now. Four
One more
times now.
time, Jews and unicorns.
Yeah,
Okay, we're
come on,
canceled.
man. But seriously, but Nick Cannon fired immediately. Millions of dollars.
Yep, yep,
Millions of dollars. And I still can't. I can't even watch an episode of Wild 'N Out now.
yeah. And half of Atlanta lost his job because Wild 'N Out was pretty much staffed by Atlanta comedians.
Hey, I know some of those comedians. Or
I do too.
I know at least a few of them, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And once again, I agree that you should not lose your livelihood over words. It's your intent, and have you been put in a position of power where your words and your ideology has affected people's livelihood. So
But
um,
yeah,
yeah,
yes, but he was in that
he
position.
was in that position, and if there's evidence that he did use his ideology to deprive others of life and liberty, then absolutely he should lose everything.
But see, here's the thing. So in the court of law, it's supposed to be uh, innocent until proven guilty, right?
Right.
But if he's the one proving people guilty, and these people just happen to be black, then everything that he submits to prove them guilty should be received with bias. You can't even be a juror if you show bias.
Yeah.
So if you're
True.
the person making the case and you are biased, then that case should be null and void.
True.
Every single one of those, every single person, even if they did in fact do it, which we don't know, that's between them, God, and those police officers. Even if they did do it, they should be released just because of what I just said. I firmly believe that because we don't. There's no way for us to know who was right, who was wrong,
Yeah.
and who was right when they went through that system.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he should. I think he should be fired because he is in a position of power, and that was from the heart. I was saying that losing everything behind it if there's no proof that he has been biased and refusing people their life, liberty, and everything else, then I think you should let him live. He shouldn't be a cop anymore. But like I said, that's my only point. I am an advocate for that because I want it equal across the board. Like I said, I might say some dumb shit, and I don't want to lose everything over it. Now, if I said some dumb shit and there's proof that I've deprived somebody or somewhere in a position of power, then yeah, I should pay the consequences.
Now, Al Jennings said he heard that they don't get a pension. I'm going to say,
Okay.
Al, I don't know if they get a pension. I did do a little bit of research to find out, and I did not find the answer to my question. But I find it difficult to believe that in all of the cases where this happens across the country, because it happens so often, these cops do things and then they get transferred somewhere else, or they resign and they move somewhere else. I think at a minimum, yeah, I think he should have been fired, and whether he got a pension or not, no opportunity to resign. 'Cause, and that's just how I feel. All right, that, sir, it's been an hour. You got anything
Yeah.
else you want to add to this whole racist Hamilton cop thing?
Um, I agree. Keisha Lance Bottoms over Stacey Abrams. I'm gonna stop saying that. Shout out to
You know
Stacey
what?
Abrams, man. Shout out to
You know
Stacey
what?
Abrams, Keisha Lance Bottoms, all the black women doing their damn thing.
You say what you say. You say
Yeah.
what you say.
I'm ignorant. I'm
But
ignorant. I
but
can't help it. I'm
when you
ignorant.
wake up in the morning and you want some biscuits and you gotta wait until she gets back from the store because she doesn't know how to bake biscuits.
Now, Stacey Abrams look like she can make a delicious biscuit. For real. For real. A good
Can't-
biscuit, homemade jelly, not even jelly, preserves like from the jar that she made and stored. Like Stacey Abrams looked like she done farmed the land, some them planted some seeds with her hands. Keisha Lance Bottoms, probably she looked like she can't cook. She probably just make you some scrambled eggs and bacon. That's about it. But Stacey Abrams know how to make a casserole.
She might be able to cook, but she might be afraid to chip a nail.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
And Stacey Abrams was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. They're trying to give her a Nobel Peace Prize. Um, I have some thoughts about that, but we'll talk about that on another episode.
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah,
to
for
piss
sure.
people off.
Oh, I mean, you can piss them off, but we'll do it in another episode.
Yeah, we'll do another
That's for
episode.
sure.
Because I'm
So,
Black 365. But anyway.
in leap years, there's one less day, right?
Oh, yeah. Is it a leap year?
I don't know that.
Uh,
No, it's not a leap. I have no idea.
I always got to
I
be
think last year
contrary.
was.
There's some Black people always got to be contrary. They can't let
Yeah.
you live. They just got to point out
Let,
some
let you live.
irrelevant fact. Leap year, you ain't 365. Okay, I'm gonna get a Black
Hey,
364 shirt for leap year.
I said it with confidence to the point where you were like, "What is
Is
it?"
it a
So
leap year?
whatever.
I don't know.
Hey, shout out to my favorite nonprofit that likes to help children. That would be Down Seven Up Eight Incorporated. They can be found at down7up8incorporated.org. You can help them out by signing up for the Kroger Community Rewards Program and selecting them as your favorite charity, or by going to Amazon Smile. I think that's smile.amazon.com, and signing them up to be your favorite charity. And every time you make a purchase, they will Amazon and Kroger will make a donation to that particular nonprofit. So that's what I've got to say. Anybody you want to give a shout out to, Mr. Trice?
I want to say this. We are in a pandemic, and a lot of people are suffering. So there's a lot of local food banks and things doing real good for the community, man. If you got a chance to donate and contribute to somebody in need, man, this is not the time to be asshole. So there's been a few opportunities for me to give, and man, like, let's get through this pandemic together, man. We are our brother's keepers. So some people are quiet, some people are proud. If you know somebody that can use a little help, man, give it to them. You'll get your blessings 10, 15, 20, 25 times a return. So understand that there are people suffering, there are children suffering. So man, give, be benevolent during this time. So
Hey, so Tim Easton, I posted his comment. I had to,
y'all
because
need a crack on your show.
apparently we need somebody to represent for what would then be the minority.
And Tim is my favorite cracker.
Oh, this guy. I'd have to say that Robert De Niro. No, I'm not even going there. And
Nah.
then shout out to Kimbro74 because apparently we're doing the devil's work. And thank you, Anana, for confirming that Stacey Abrams was nominated for a Nobel Prize.
Kimbro 74 is my favorite mock turtleneck wearing brother. Shout out. I bet you got one on now. Don't beat me up when anything. I'm sorry.
Make you feel sorry for that turtleneck with that
Yeah.
big that head, right?
Oh my
Like,
God. It had to be a mock turtleneck. You got a big dome, brother. I got a big head, but you got a big head.
oh man, I love you all. Thank you for watching the Advocators. It's been a fun show. Keno, thank you.
Thank you,
Hey, we'll
brother.
see you next. Yeah.
No,
We'll
thank you.
see
Shout
you.
out to Joe Kimbrough. He put all this together. I'm merely a popper boy. But anyway, go
Hey,
ahead.
man. Let's not use government names, sir. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. That's 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Friday night. Y'all take it easy. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
You know what I'm gonna do? That right.